Hello dear students, myself CMA Padmaja Buzruk. I will discuss auditing. Go to study note number 7, provision relating to audit under Companies Act. I will discuss bank audit. The Reserve Bank of India acts as the monetary authority and the central bank of the country, which controls the issue and supply of Indian rupee and manages all major monetary policies of India. RBI is the regulator of entire banking in India. Type of banking institutions prevailing in India. Commercial banks operate on profit making basis, that is, their main aim is to make profit. Regional rural banks, these banks serve rural areas and agricultural sector. Cooperative banks, these banks are registered under Cooperative Societies Act. Development banks, more commonly known as term lending institutions, for example IDBI. Payment banks targeted towards low income groups, workers, small businesses, and small finance banks for lending farmers and small businesses. The Banking Regulation Act 1949 as well as Companies Act applies to corporate entities carrying on the business of banking in India. That means for Banking Regulation Act 1949 as well as Companies Act 2013 is applicable. Now we'll see format of balance sheet of banks. It is given in third schedule of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Balance sheet is in vertical format. 1 to 5 schedules are for capital and liabilities. 6 to 11 schedules are for asset. Schedule number 12 is for contingent liabilities. Schedule number 1 capital, schedule number 2 reserves and surplus, schedule number 3 deposits, schedule number 4 borrowings, schedule number 5 other liabilities and provisions. Take the total of schedule number 1 to 5. Then assets, cash and balance with RBI, schedule 6, balance with other banks and money at call and short notice, schedule 7. Investments, schedule number 8, advances, schedule number 9, fixed assets, schedule number 10, other assets, schedule number 11. Take the total of 6 to 11. This is the total of assets. Total of assets should be equal to total of capital and liabilities. Contingent liability schedule number 12 and bills for collection, there is no schedule number. Form B is profit and loss account. This is also in the vertical format. It is in 4 sections. Section 1 is income, section 2 is expenditure, section 3 is profit and loss, section 4 is appropriation. Schedule number 13 interest earned, schedule number 14 other income. Take the total of 13 and 14, that is total income. Schedule number 15 interest expended, that is interest paid. Schedule number 16 operating expenses. Then provisions and contingencies. Take the total of expenditure. Total income minus total expenditure will be profit or loss for the year. Add carry forward profit. You will get total of 3. Total of 3 should be same as total of 4. From total of 4, deduct transfer to statutory reserve, transfer to other reserve, proposed dividend, and the balancing figure will be carried forward to the balance sheet. Auditor should check whether the balance sheet and profit and loss account is prepared by the bank as per this format, which is given by Banking Regulation Act 1949, as well as he should check all the schedules. Auditing aspect of banking of financial statements. Advances, that is loans and advances given by the bank, schedule number 9. In relation to advances made by bank, an auditor needs to review the following. Auditor is supposed to check whether adequate internal control system is there in the bank for loans and advances. He should scrutinize and check subsidiary ledgers and control accounts. He should check all the documentary evidences, that is loan agreements, interest rate, date of interest payment, date of payment of installments, etc. He should scrutinize the overdue accounts, that is the accounts on which interest has not been paid, and he should find out the scheme for recovery of such overdue accounts. That is the amount which is overdue. installments as well as interest. Cash in hand, balance with RBI and other bank and money at call and short notice. Cash in hand, Schedule 6. Auditor is supposed to again check whether there is proper internal control. As regards cash in hand, he should physically check, count cash, and he should tally that with the cash book balance. He should also count foreign currencies held by the bank, and he should check that these have been translated at the rate which was prevailing as on the date of balance sheet. Balance with RBI. The auditor should inspect ledger balance. In each account, he should get confirmation certificate from RBI as well as he should check reconciliation statement. Balance with other banks, Schedule 7, he should check reconciliation statement. He should examine the balances with the banks outside India and ensure that these are converted at the rate which was prevailing as on the date of balance sheet. Money at call and short notice, auditor should check whether there is proper authorization for the same. Money at call and short notice can be borrowing or lending. He should check that these borrowings and lendings are not set off against each other. That is, the call money made by bank are not netted off against call money received by it. And if the lending money is for a period more than 6 days, he should ensure that it is not classified as money at call and short notice, but it is shown as deposits or advances depending upon the nature of lending. Fixed assets and other assets. Fixed assets, Schedule 10, other assets, Schedule 11. The auditor should check the accounting method of the bank. While auditing fixed assets, he should check ownership documents, that is, to check whether the fixed assets are in the name of the bank. He should examine the schedule of fixed assets so that he will come to know the fixed assets acquired, purchased during the year, as well as fixed assets sold during the year, accumulated depreciation as well as depreciation for the current year, whether it has been correctly charged or not. He should examine sale deed in relation to sale of asset by the bank to ensure appropriateness of the basis of revaluation of fixed asset. If fixed assets have been revalued, he should ensure whether the basis on which they have been revalued is appropriate. Ensure compliance of Section 9 of Banking Regulation Act, which prohibits banks from acquiring immovable property. Borrowings and deposits, Schedule 4 and 3. Borrowings, Schedule 4, that is the borrowings of the bank, is to be entered in schedule number 4 to ensure that the amount have been properly disclosed for borrowing in India from RBI, borrowing outside India. Ensure rate of interest paid and payable with duration of borrowing. Verify whether borrowing of money at call and short notice are properly authorized. So in case of borrowing, auditor should check whether the separate disclosure is made from borrowing in India and outside India, whether borrowing from borrowing in India from RBI is also separately disclosed or not. He should check. Interest paid outstanding on borrowing is also to be checked by auditor. Deposit, Schedule 3. This is nothing but saving bank, current bank and fixed deposits of the customers with bank. The auditor should ensure that interest accrued is properly accounted for or not. He should see whether there is any instances of window dressing. Window dressing is misleading presentation of something to create favorable impression. In order to create favorable impression, some wrong or misleading information is given, which is known as window dressing. For reporting in LFAR, long form audit report, auditor is supposed to submit on the matters required by RBI. Capital and reserves and surplus. Capital is Schedule 1. Auditor should check opening balance. If there is any additional capital raised during the year, he should check resolution of shareholders as well as memorandum of association as well as prospectus if there is increase in subscribed and paid up capital. If there is any contribution from government, he should check government notification. Reserves and surplus, Schedule 2. In this case, auditor should check various different types of reserves. He should check opening balances of various types, any additions or deduction from the reserves. If any dividend is paid in respect of foreign branch, he should ensure compliance with foreign laws. Other liabilities and provisions, Schedule 5. The auditor may verify various items under the head Other liabilities and provisions. First is bills payable. The auditor should evaluate existence, effectiveness, and continuity of internal control over bills payable. He should check that there is internal control in existence for bills payable, it is effective and proper. Others, the auditor should examine other provisions and other items of liabilities in the same manner as in case of other entities. Like in case of other organization, what care auditor takes while examining the provisions and other items of liabilities, same care he should take while checking the other liabilities and provisions of bank, specifically in case of tax deducted by the bank and payable to the government authorities before the due date. This function may be centralized or decentralized. While verifying this, the auditor must check whether the tax has been correctly deducted from payment as per provisions of Income Tax Act 1961 and paid on or before the due date as specified under Act or rules therefore. So auditor should check that whether tax has been deducted at source correctly, it has been deposited on or before the due date, and accounting treatment has been properly done. Contingent liabilities, Schedule 12 and bill for collection. In respect of contingent liabilities, auditor should be very careful. It is his responsibility to check that all contingent liabilities are identified and properly valued, and he should get reasonable assurance for the same. He should check that there is adequate internal control for transactions involving contingent liabilities. These contingent liabilities are executed by authorized persons and in accordance with laid down procedures. He should ascertain that the accounting system of banking provide maintenance of adequate records in respect of contingent liabilities, and internal control ensures that contingent liabilities are properly identified and recorded. Auditor performs substantive audit tests to establish completeness of the recorded contingent liabilities. These tests include confirmation procedure, that is getting confirmations, as well as examination of relevant records in appropriate cases, that is checking documentary evidences in certain cases. Review the reasonableness of year-end amount of contingent liabilities in the light of previous experience and knowledge of the current year's activities. So based on previous experiences as well as knowledge of current year's activities, auditor review the reasonableness of year-end amount of contingent liabilities. Bill for collection, auditor should check that the bill drawn on other branches by this branch, particular branch which he is auditing, is not included in bill for collection. Bill for collection includes only inward bill as well as outward bill. Inward bills are generally available with the bank on the closing day and the auditor may inspect them at that time. That is, these bills are sent to the bank by other branches and it is the duty of the bank to pay this bill. And outward bill is bank's customers' bills which has been given by customers to the bank for collection. These might have been gone for collection soon after they have received. They are therefore not likely to be in hand at the date of balance sheet. The auditor may verify them with reference to registered maintained for outward bill for collection. The auditor should also examine collections made subsequent to the balance sheet date. That is, after the balance sheet has been prepared, if the bills have been collected, he should examine and check those to obtain further evidence about existence and completeness of bill for collection. Now, schedules relating to profit and loss account. Schedule number 13, 14, 15 and 16 and provisions and contingencies are for profit and loss account. Schedule number 13 is interest earned, interest received. Auditor should check whether it has been correctly recorded. If there is any outstanding or received in advance interest, proper accounting treatment has been done. Other income is to be included in schedule number 14. Auditor should check whether it has been properly recorded, correctly included in schedule 14. If there is any outstanding income or received in advance income, proper accounting treatment has been given for the same. Other income includes commission, exchange and brokerage, profit on sale of investment, profit on revaluation of investment, profit on sale of land, building and other asset, profit on exchange transaction, and income earned by way of dividend from subsidiaries. Interest expended is schedule number 15, that is interest paid by the bank. This is expenditure. Auditor should check whether all these interest paid by bank are properly recorded in schedule number 15. If any interest is outstanding, whether it has been properly accounted for not is to be checked by auditor. Operating expenses, schedule number 16, salaries and wages of staff, rent rates and taxes, printing and stationery, advertisement, depreciation on bank's properties, directors fees, auditors fees, law charges, postage, repair, insurance, etc. are shown under this item. Auditor should check this whether all these expenses are entered in schedule number 16, they are recorded in schedule number 16. If any prepaid expenditure or outstanding expenditure is there, if it has been correctly accounted for or not. Provisions and contingencies, provision for bad debt, provision for taxation and other provisions are shown under this item. Auditor should carefully check these provisions and contingencies. Now we'll see treasury operations of bank. It is imperative, that is very important, that an auditor obtains a complete overview of treasury operations. Treasury operations means managing daily cash flow and liquidity of funds of bank before the commencement of statutory audit. That means before starting his statutory audit, auditor should get a complete idea about treasury operations of bank. After conducting appropriate risk assessment of treasury processes, the audit program needs to be designed to get an assurance that the figures appearing in the financial statements as well as disclosures are true and reflect fairly the affairs of the bank treasury. So that means after conducting risk assessment of treasury operations, that is what are the risks involved in treasury operations, he designs his audit program so that he gets an assurance that figures appearing in financial statements, that is profit and loss account and balance sheet, as well as disclosures give a true and fair view of affairs of bank treasury. Reports to be given by bank auditor. The auditor's report should state whether the balance sheet, profit and loss account and cash flow statement of a bank shows true and fair view of financial position, results of operations, that is profit or loss, cash flow respectively for the period under audit. This is applicable in respect of nationalized banks as well as banking companies. Auditor should give his report stating whether balance sheet gives true and fair view of financial position, profit and loss account gives true and fair view of financial results, and cash flow statement gives true and fair view of cash flows. Unaudited branches. Information relating to number of unaudited branches should be given. So auditor should mention in his audit report how many branches are unaudited. Also information in respect of advances, deposits, interest income, interest expense for such unaudited branches should be collected and disclosed in the audit report. So along with number of unaudited branches, the auditor is supposed to disclose advances, deposits, interest income, interest expenses for each and every unaudited branch in his audit report. Additional matters, Section 30, Subsection 3 of Banking Regulation Act requires the auditor to state the following: whether or not the information and explanation required by him have been found to be satisfactory. That means He is supposed to state whether he has received information and explanation for the purpose of which audit is satisfactory. Whether or not transactions of the company fall within the powers of banking company, that is whatever transactions have been recorded are transactions of banking company, the transactions which are applicable to banking company. Whether or not the returns received from branch offices of the company have been found adequate for the purpose of his audit. If the auditor has not audited the accounts of branch office, and if he has received returns from the branch offices, whether these returns are adequate for the purpose of his audit, whether profit and loss account shows a true balance of profit or loss for the period covered by such account, and any other matter which the auditor considers should be brought to the notice of shareholders of the company. LFAR, that is long form audit report, auditors of public sector bank, private sector bank, foreign bank as well as their branches are required to submit long form audit report on various matters specified by RBI. So RBI specifies the matters on which long form audit report is to be submitted by auditors of each and every bank. Certificates in addition to report, the auditors of bank branches as well as central statutory auditors of banks have to issue various certificates as required by RBI and other regulations. That means if required by RBI or by other regulations, auditors are supposed to submit or issue certificate on various matters required by RBI. In this particular video, we have seen bank audit. Thank you.